We have just learned that Ukrainian rebels have turned over to investigators the flight data recorders of the Malaysian Flight 17, which was shot down Thursday over eastern Ukraine. It has been 4 agonizing days for the families who lost loved ones on Flight 17. They pleaded for the return of the remains of their loved ones. Today, the pro-Russian rebels who control the area of eastern Ukraine where the plane was shot down sent them home in rail cars. 282 of the 298 victims have been recovered so far. The UN Security Council, including Russia, demanded that the rebels now allow investigators safe and unrestricted access to the crash site. We have a team of CBS News correspondents covering this story, and we'll begin tonight with Mark Phillips in Ukraine.
They died in a place they never intended to be, and now most of the victims of Malaysia Air Flight 17 finally began the journey home. The train of refrigerated rail cars where the bodies had been stored became a rolling morgue. It crawled slowly out of the rebel-controlled town of Torez near the crash site. A deal had been worked out to take the victims into Ukrainian government territory, to the city of Kharkiv, from where they were due to be flown to Holland for identification. Dutch forensic experts had viewed the bodies earlier in the day, under a tight escort of rebel guards. Days of living exposed in the summer sun had done its work. Still, Dutch investigator Peter van Vliet said he was satisfied with the condition of the bodies.
I have watched the train and the wagons, and I think the storage of the bodies is good of quality.
At the crash site itself, bodies were still being discovered, and Van Vliet became the first foreign investigator to get a look, if only a brief one, at the wreckage. An international team of aviation experts that's been assembled has yet to arrive. Security in this war zone is still a concern, as is the security of the passengers' belongings. We saw emergency workers going through personal property. It's clear there's been tampering with materials on the site. If there's ever going to be hard evidence of what brought this plane down, it'll be found here among the wreckage. It's one thing to say that a SAM missile was fired at this plane. It's quite another to find bits of it or some evidence of an explosion. And right now, nobody's looking. As part of the deal to release the bodies, the plane's black box data recorders were also supposed to be handed over to Malaysian representatives. In the end, the handover was repeatedly delayed, but finally, Scott, the black boxes are back in Malaysian hands.
Mark Phillips covering near the crash site. Thank you, Mark.